Test, test. Let's test the audio for this particular recording. Test. You can hear. Test, test, test. Okay. Well, apparently I have audio. My microphone's not turned off. My microphone's not muted. So I'm going to try to do, oh my goodness, that was about an hour or so, probably a little bit more of lecture, which saves you all because now you get the really short and sweet condensed version because I don't have time to produce another video that long. So let's go straight to Module 8. If we're looking at Module 8, we go to Stats for Assessment. Excuse me. Weekly course modules. Scrolling down. Communication of statistical results. You all have your task cut out for you this week. And don't get too overwhelmed with it, gang. It's late in the semester, but we are going to try to comprehensively put together ideas from throughout the class. What this looks like is the next 2 weeks, you all are going to be working on this PowerPoint presentation with video, the outline, the idea behind it, and I'll just go quickly here. 10 slides minimum. PowerPoint. You don't have to actually record yourself giving the PowerPoint. You just have to create a PowerPoint where you're discussing a psychometric norming study. You're like, what? That's a lot of jargon. What is a psychometric norming study? We'll talk quickly about what that is in a separate video. These are all going to be condensed. You'll use Google Scholar. You'll find a peer-reviewed psychometric study, which means the authors designed an instrument to measure a psychological construct, whether it be intelligence, whether it be something emotion-based, whether it be something personality-wise. We have thousands, literally thousands of psychometric assessments. Find one that relates to you and your profession, whatever you're going to do. Find one that you're going to be excited about. Those of you that had DSM, you had a similar type assignment in that class. This one's more in depth, but it's the same type of premise. So these are the questions you're going to answer in the slideshow. What constructs are being measured? So if you're measuring, like I used narcissism as the example in the other video, it's a 30-minute video. If there are subcomponents of narcissism, being grandiose narcissism, vulnerable narcissism, whatever, parse that out. Most scales that somebody creates have subscales, meaning there are other things that they're measuring within the bigger construct. So there are different types of narcissism. I just use that for an offhand reference. Be able to describe the subscales, whether it be depression, whether it be anxiety, whether it be social anxiety, whatever your construct is. There are usually subscales in the instrument. What kind of scales are being used? Is it ordinal? Is it interval? Is it ratio? Pick a slide, choose a slide that you're going to describe what the type of scale is that's being used. Is it a Likert type scale, 1 through 7 rating? What is it? How do you know if this is a valid measure? Find the statistics in the results section. Work your way through them. Use AI if you need to say, what does this mean? Put it in a search bar. Say, what is this? X squared equals blank, blank, blank. Put the formula that they not the formula, but put the actual equation where they announce the results. Lean into technology, get some help, see if you can figure out, and then write in your own words, not what was given to you if you're doing that. Try to figure it out with the concepts in class, but I don't want you to get stumbled and at the end of the semester have to really devote a lot of time to this assignment. It should take you some time because you're applying a lot of different concepts from throughout the class, but you don't need to take, 10 hours on this. That's too long. We want to We want to show some integration of knowledge at this point. So again, identify and list the statistical notations that illustrate reliability and validity. Those are two separate terms. Be able to identify on different slides what the, and reliability definitely feeds into validity, but they are separate constructs, separate concepts themselves. Maybe take a slide for each one of those. Then in your own words, describe what the statistics you provided mean. That was the prompt a second ago. How do the instrument and constructs measures relate to your experience as a person, as a professional? What are the implications of this? Have you used this scale before? If you use the scale, what can it be used for? What will the limitations be of this scale? I think that's important too. That's not listed explicitly, but put a slide in there about limitations. No science is ever perfect. How can you use this information to help you professionally? Here's how the rubric will work. Relevant content, meaning did you actually address all these questions? That's worth 30%. The presentation style, clarity, how good did you do on putting something visually pleasing that's easy for me to follow as somebody grading? That's 30%. Your references, there may not be very many. Maybe you have one or two or three. You're like, how could you have 3 references? We'll talk about it in a minute. And adherence to APA style. Questions are welcomed on the discussion board. Please know your discussion this week. Reach out to each other, reach out to your peers, and you have until Sunday to discuss, okay, what is it that I'm putting together? What questions do you have? How can you help each other address these things? Next Sunday, if you don't have an answer, you haven't figured it out, please email me and you're like, okay, I've had a week to discuss this on the discussion board. I don't quite know what I'm doing. Professor Randolph, please help me. I'll be glad to take a minute and help you out. Okay, back into this. That's it, gang. I'm not going to spend too much time going over this intro. There were 2 other videos that I shared this week without sound, so I'm going to try my best to replicate those.